The iPhone 17 Pro Max has been the single most best experience I have experienced with an iPhone in a very long time. After using this device as my main phone for the last month or so, this is the first year-to-year upgrade in a very long time that I can say it is worth upgrading to. I came from the iPhone 16 Pro Max, and this 17 Pro Max, even coming from that device, has been glorious. And we're talking about this device all around, from the cameras to the battery life to the new design. I'm impressed all the way around. But there are still obvious shortcomings when it comes to this Pro iPhone. We have a lot to talk about. Let's get it. Let's start with the battery, because that's one of the things I noticed right away. My 16 Pro Max, I didn't really have a problem with the battery life. Actually, the battery lasted me quite a while. But the 17 Pro Max is on another level. I am consistently able to get upwards of 10 hours of battery life and still having enough juice to last me the rest of the evening. So say, for example, I take this one off the charger 6 o'clock in the morning. By midnight, I still, on a typical day, like a typical usage day, can have 55% battery life left. For that amount of usage, like all day long, that is absolutely ridiculous. Now, on my heavier days, I am able to get downwards of around 15% at that time, but you're talking hours of video footage, hours of video editing, hours of photo taking. If you are a power user, whether you are a gamer, a content creator, a videographer, a photographer, there are so many different things you could do on this Pro Max. If you do any of those things, you will definitely want this device due to that extensive battery life. And then whenever you look at this new design, I thought it was weird when I first saw it. Apple was saying like, hey, this is a aluminum unibody design. We've got the big cutout of glass, so that way you can still have the MagSafe capabilities and wireless charging. I thought it looked incomplete, especially whenever I saw the device with the rumors. But whenever I got this device, took it out of the box, and saw that beautiful silver color, I fell in love with it immediately. Apple needed a refresh on their design after using essentially the exact same looking design since the iPhone, really the iPhone 11. When you look at all of those devices, they essentially look the same. Yes, I know they went from the aluminum to the stainless steel to the titanium. The edges went from boxy to rounded to really rounded. But overall, the phone really looked the same. And like, even with my phone, I don't have the orange, obviously, but even with my device, people notice that it is the new iPhone. If you're somebody who doesn't want to spend over $1,000 and still have a phone that looks like your previous phone, then this upgrade might be for you as well. I'm not somebody who likes the attention, but I know for a fact if you walk into somewhere with a caseless cosmic orange iPhone, people are going to be asking you like, hey, how do you like your phone? Is that the new iPhone? You know, all of that stuff. Whenever I decided I was going to upgrade, I told myself like, hey, I am going to get a black iPhone this year. And of course we did not get that. So the silver was the next best thing for me. And it is absolutely gorgeous. I love how the silver allows me to wear whatever case and accessory I want, but I really like how on this device I can do whatever I want because I don't have to worry about my orange color not looking good with this leather case or my blue color not looking good with this case. I love how I have the ability to wear whatever I want. And that's one of the features with the iPhones a lot of people don't talk about. The level of cases and accessories you can get is absolutely insane. And that's one of the reasons why I keep an iPhone as one of my main devices. I love the customization abilities there. Speaking of customization, iOS 26 has been marvelous on the iPhone 17 devices. I can't say the same thing about the previous phones. There are and there have been a lot of issues with performance and glitches and bugs with older devices. But on the iPhone 17 series, I have used the 17, the Air, and the Pro Max, and all of those devices seem to run very well on iOS 26. And unfortunately, we just can't say that about the older devices yet. Now, I will say that on this iPhone, I have noticed a little glitch here and there, just with the swiping performance on the home screen. specifically. Every once in a while, maybe 1 in 20, like swiping back to home and swiping over, I get a quick blimp of a glitch. And I don't like that. I will say iOS 26.0.1 has helped with little glitches like that. But I feel like Apple still has some work to do with iOS 26. But overall, this update is amazing. I love the way Liquid Glass looks. Yes, I know it is very CPU, RAM, and just GPU intense, and even battery intensive as well. But I think it's weird. I think it's good that Apple designed a update that is very intrusive on their devices, so that way they keep improving their devices, if that makes sense. But anyways, yeah, I like the customization features on iOS 26. I like the way the lock screen is customizable now, with where you can have the larger, thinner, larger, taller, shorter clock widget. And then you can also put the subject of your picture in front of the clock. I really love how beautiful that looks. And I also love the depth wallpapers. The ability to have depth on your wallpapers is absolutely beautiful. And not only can you use the depth feature on your wallpapers, you can use it on your photos as well. I really like that feature on iOS 26. Now, one of my favorite features on this phone overall is the display. So of course, Apple, they kept the screen size 6.9 inches, just like they did with the previous Max phone. But this new phone comes with a new version of Ceramic Shield. And I have used this phone for a little while without a screen protector, just to see how well the new scratch prevention features are on this phone. And I will say, so far after using the phone without a screen protector, I haven't noticed any scratches yet. On every single iPhone I have ever owned, the Ceramic Shield or the previous glass has always been extremely soft. So the phone gets scratches like crazy. It even gets deep, like thick scratches as well. And that's just with me using the phone like normal and putting it in its own separate pocket. But I've noticed that on this new one, it has been better in terms of scratches. I would have already had 2 or 3 scratches on this device on the previous models. So I hope that this screen continues to be this good. I will probably continue to test out different screen protectors, but I feel like if you buy this device and use it without a screen protector, you might be okay this year. We will see. I will update you all here in the more near future when I do an additionally long-term review. But I am excited that Apple increased the scratch resistance on the display. And then of course you get the new anti-reflective abilities. Now, the anti-reflective display on this iPhone 17 Pro Max is good. And I really like how Apple brought the anti-reflective display to all of the iPhone 17s. So I think that that is cool. I do want to mention that the anti-reflective abilities are definitely not as good as they are on the Galaxy S25 Ultra. I think Samsung still does a better job with the amount of reflections it keeps off of your display. But I'm just excited that they brought the feature. Of course, here in the next couple of iPhones, they can continuously increase how anti-reflective the display is, but it's good that they brought it. And you will notice it whenever you use this phone outside or in environments that have reflections. You can definitely notice that it does block more reflections. But the main thing about the screen that I want to talk about is the brightness. I noticed it right away. So the screen went from 2000 nits to brightness upwards to 3000 nits of peak brightness. And I definitely notice it. Not only in bright environments whenever you are outside, but even like bright studio lights as an example, or just bright environments that you are in, the screen is definitely noticeably more bright. And that was one issue I always had with my previous iPhones. Whenever you compared it to other devices, whether it was Samsung or especially Google Pixel, you really did notice that this screen is a lot brighter, is a lot more anti-reflective. I really like the display on this iPhone. And I feel like it's smoother as well. For whatever reason, this device feels smoother to me than the iPhone 16 Pro Max. Now that could be an iOS 26 thing. Maybe the level of optimization is just a lot better on this device than it is on the iPhone 16 Pro Max when it comes to iOS 26. But that is something I noticed. Like, this screen just feels more buttery, more responsive. And I love how Apple finally made a change there. We look at our displays more than anything on the phone. Yes, the phone is beautiful, but I'm not looking at the back all the time. I'm looking at the display. Now, when we look at the multimedia experience, we have this beautiful 6.9-inch display. We've got this dynamic island cutout that takes out a little bit of your display whenever you are watching videos. But the thing I want to talk about, and the thing I have experienced, is the speakers. The speakers sound louder and clearer to me than the previous iPhones. They get really loud and they sound really clear as well. I have notoriously on record said how much I love the Galaxy S25 Ultra speakers and that they are louder and more clear than the iPhone 16 Pro Max was. I feel like Apple is back and has tied themselves essentially with Samsung and now has maybe even better speakers than the Galaxy S25 Ultra. We will talk about that more in my comparison video, but yes, I absolutely love the speakers on this device. Of course, the haptics are great as well. The operating system continuously still uses the haptics in a great way. Apple always has great haptics, and this phone is no exception. The cellular reception on this device has been game changer for me. I will say this is the best iPhone ever in terms of reception and speed when it comes to connectivity using cellular or Wi-Fi. So I noticed that in areas that I rarely get good signal, like maybe 1 bar of like LTE, in those areas, I've noticed that I've, for one, gotten 5G in those areas, or even like in areas that I used to get maybe 1 or 2 bars of 5G, I'm getting 4 to 5 bars of 5G connectivity. And anytime I run a speed test, it runs it instantly, and it's the fastest speeds I've ever gotten. Either T-Mobile went buck wild in my area and increased everything as soon as the new iPhone came out, or this new iPhone is just amazing in terms of connectivity. And I think it's definitely the iPhone. Now, Apple was not kidding when it comes to thermals. This phone for me has consistently been cooler than my iPhone 16 Pro Max. And not only that phone, it has been consistently cooler than any other phone I have used in a very long time. Of course, the phone still heats up whenever you are beating the heck out of it like I do, but I noticed it just gets warmer in your hand. I have never felt this phone get hot whatsoever. And that's a benefit because I take a lot of photos and videos whenever I am outside. And we actually just had a trip to one of our local farms with the kids, and we're feeding horses and we're outside in the heat a lot, taking a lot of photos and videos. And I noticed, like, on occasions, the iPhone 16 Pro Max got so hot for me that the phone would dim all the way down whenever you were taking these photos that you could barely see the screen. And the phone was uncomfortably hot in your hand, and it was uncomfortably hot in your pocket. The exact same scenario where I was taking hundreds of photos and a couple of videos, this phone did not heat up at all. And the benefit of that is, for one, it's not hot, but the screen stayed max brightness the entire time. That's one of my biggest pet peeves when it comes to iPhones. Whenever they heat up, the screen starts dimming. You'll see it happen in real time, like it'll dim, dim, dim. I absolutely hated that. And the iPhone 17 Pro Max, I haven't noticed it dimming at all yet. So that to me is a huge improvement on this device. The thermals on this phone alone make this phone worth upgrading to for me. You won't know what you're missing out on until you have one of those bad situations with your older iPhones, and then you come to this one and then not have that issue. I just hope it stays this way. Like, I hope the hardware advancement pushes past the software issues that may come from Apple, if you know what I mean. But yeah, so far, the thermals on this phone are insane. And that's not just for outside phone usage, like heavy phone usage. That also goes for gaming. Whenever you game on this phone, I haven't even noticed phone heating up whenever I game. I played Destiny Rising for a couple of hours, and that game is absolutely beautiful. I played that on the highest settings, and the phone was essentially cool to the touch with no throttling whatsoever. I love using this as a gaming phone. There hasn't been a single game that I have tested that caused this phone to struggle, and I love that. So I will take a more scratch prone and a more dentable phone if that means that I get amazing performance and amazing thermals as well. Cameras. The front-facing camera is a game changer. I'm sure you've seen this already, so I'm not going to talk about it too much. On the front-facing camera, you now have the ability to shoot in 4 different angles. So you can shoot in the normal portrait mode, the portrait landscape modes where you can actually hold the phone portraitly and film or take a picture, in vertical, and then you can expand in both of those orientations. Absolute game changer. I have already taken multiple videos on my channel where I'm just holding the phone portraitly and the video is being taken landscapedly. I absolutely love this feature. One thing I hate about phones in general is that whenever you wanted to use the front-facing camera to record your video for a YouTube video, you always have to do that phone and wrist turn over thing. You would have to change the way you hold your phone. And it gets weird because if you look at yourself in the camera, it was always too far over to the side. It wasn't whenever you were looking right on the phone. But now with the portrait mode, whenever you hold your phone portraitly, it just looks better. Like your eyes don't look all weird and I don't know. It's hard to explain. This feature is absolutely insane. And the front-facing camera overall looks so much better. It is so much more higher quality. I love it. And that goes for photos and videos. And then when it comes to the rear cameras, Apple, to me, now has the best camera on the market, at least in the US market. Whenever you compare this phone to the Pixels and the Samsungs, I think they have knocked it out of the park this year. So all three lenses on the back are now 48 megapixels. So you have the ultra wide, the 1x lens, and the 4x lens. I love this camera more and more every single time I use it. I have been focusing on using the 48 megapixel raw photo taking capabilities a lot more than I usually do. And I am awed every time I take the photos, look at them, edit them. They just look crazy good, like a real camera. And to me, the star of the show is the 100mm 4x 48 megapixel telephoto lens. The 100mm range is absolutely beautiful. It takes amazing shots. And the 8x optical 12 megapixel photo taking mode look beautiful as well. Apple, these cameras are crazy good. But there is one issue with the photos. The minimum focus distance for the 1x lens is a lot further away than I would expect. Whenever you are using this phone and you turn off micro mode and you just have the 1x camera on and you put the phone up to something, you have to keep the phone away from the object further than you used to have to prior in order for the photo to stay in focus. I don't like that. I don't really like using the micro mode. Like whenever you use the micro mode, you really have to get up on the object, like up on it. So I think that the minimal focus is something I definitely don't like. And I hope they find a way to fix that in the future. And I can say the same thing about the 4x lens as well. It has the same problem. So you can see it. There are occasions where you are trying to take a photo with the telephoto lens camera, and the iPhone software-wise is actually using a cropped-in image of the 1x sensor. And I think it's due to the lack of light and or it's due to the lack of focus distance from that camera. So there's just a couple bugs there. I know I'm getting kind of in depth there. There's a couple of issues with the cameras, but in optimal situations, it's not that big of a deal. And then whenever you look at the videos, whether it's the 4K cinematic video like you are looking at right now, or the 4K 60, the 4K 120 slow motion video, the 4K HDR, the HDR is absolutely beautiful. This phone's camera system for video making is amazing as well. You have the ability to shoot in ProRes Log and ProRes Log 2 and OpenGate. And I mean, there are so many things you can do with this phone in terms of video. But for somebody like me who just typically shoots in 4K 60 HDR, the videos look absolutely insane. And I feel like every year you upgrade phones, you expect the device to have better cameras all the way around. But I feel like this year, it was the biggest jump that they've ever had because of that new telephoto lens that is crazy amazing, and the new front-facing camera that is stupidly innovative. So I really like that. The front-facing camera is so good, you can guarantee that the Android manufacturers are going to copy that square sensor. When you look at the price, it's a $1,200 phone in the US, and that comes with 256 gigs of storage. This phone is expensive, man. It is very expensive. Luckily, I got a very good trade-in with my iPhone 16 Pro Max, but I feel like the price is going to keep people away from buying it if they don't need those features. Obviously, a lot of people buy the Pro Max because they want the largest and best iPhone you can get, but that price is a barrier for a lot of people. And the iPhone 17 Pro, they got rid of the $999 128 gig version. So now even the normal Pro, the cheapest model you can get, is no longer there. You have to now buy the 256 gig 17 Pro. These phones are expensive. And not only that, but the iPhone 17 is so good that it gives the iPhone 17 Pro series a run for its money. These are way more expensive than the iPhone 17, and you don't get that amount of money back in return unless you're very niche with what you are doing with your device. You have to know that you are going to use these features in order for that amount of money to really make sense. So honestly, I think the majority of people should just buy the iPhone 17 or buy the iPhone Air if you want this new, beautiful, crazy thin design, as long as you know what the downsides are, right? But yeah, I think the majority of people still should buy the iPhone 17 unless you know what you're going to do with this iPhone. Or you could just buy it because it's the largest, best, newest Pro iPhone that they make, which is absolutely fine as well. But you don't have to do that. I think Apple did a great job with this iPhone 17 series. I still think Apple should introduce silicon carbon batteries, and they should give us a thinner Pro iPhone with a larger battery, because that's what that technology allows you to do. I know the phone had to be thick again and heavy again this year because of the larger battery, the largest battery, which is great, and that new cooling system. But yeah, I think Apple can do better in terms of the design within the next couple of years. But yeah, for me, this is my favorite iPhone experience I have ever had. The next one is probably the iPhone 13 Pro Max. I absolutely adored that phone like no other. But this new 17 Pro Max has taken the throne. And I'm not just saying that because it's the newest iPhone. I absolutely hated the 14 Pro Max. The 15 Pro Max was like, eh. The 16 Pro Max, while it was the AI phone, it was a good device overall for a while, but iOS 18 was an atrocity. So it kind of ruined that phone overall, to be honest. But yeah, Apple, they really cooked this year. This 17 Pro Max it's the GOAT. It's good. There's only a few things, like I mentioned, that they can change. I mean, it's still early in the life cycle of this phone, so I'm sure there will be more issues that will arise over time or more problems. Keep your phone protected. Don't drop it and dent the hell out of it. Don't get it all scratched up to where it looks ugly. Protect your stuff and just enjoy it. And I feel like even if you have an iPhone 15 series, go ahead and upgrade. The upgrade makes sense. I would upgrade my iPhone 16 series if your phone is overheating or your battery is bad, and or you just want to get the most amount of money in the trade-in system from Apple directly, then go ahead and upgrade your iPhone 16 series device. I don't see a problem with that either. Every single year you hold on to the iPhone 15 Pro Max or the iPhone 16 Pro Max, every year it's going to decrease in value. So if you want to upgrade your device, go ahead and do it. I don't see a problem with that. You will get a fantastic experience. So thanks for watching, everybody. I know I'm over here like Apple sheeping and everything, but I still love my Android phones. I absolutely do. But I bought this phone with my own money, and I better like it for as much money as I spent. It's an excellent phone. So if you like this video, let me know. If you watched this entire video, leave a comment down below with an alien emoji, just so I know who the real ones are. Let me know down below if you have an iPhone 17 Pro Max. Let me know if you have an iPhone 17 series device. Let me know what color you got. Let me know if you are enjoying that phone. And I'll see you all in the next one. Peace.